Hello, everybody, and good morning, good afternoon. It is Thursday, the 9th of December, 2021. We had a pretty quiet day yesterday. Nothing really to report apart from a lot of euro strength. Um, I think a little bit of dissipation of risk, Omicron risk, coming off the dollar, letting the euro really get a little further up. Also, a sort of a faster timeline for coming off stimulus in the ECB, and a little bit of talk yesterday from Christine Lagarde about potentially rates rises coming in a little sooner than everyone has imagined. And that's going to be front loaded to probably quarter 1 2022. So looking across at these markets, after a massive update on Tuesday in the DAX here, you can really see we've just been hanging out on the tops in the DAX since. Looking over at the Nasdaq, pretty poor trade yesterday, breaking down below the Asia Pac low, and then just recovery late into the session. So quite a tight range for the Nasdaq yesterday. No real fireworks, to be honest. A couple of the guys getting some nice scalps out of that market. But really, I think for today, euro back to the S1 for the longs. I like that opportunity there, to eventually rally up to the 14,390s. Just show you that on the daily chart. So I think this area here is providing some support. We should manage to finish this week with potentially a new high. That's kind of how I'm looking at that. Currently flat though on euro. Cable really hanging out in the 3209. So this is a really dangerous area for cable. This level goes all the way. Well, it goes way back actually to. I'm actually loading the days, but goes way back. Going to have to lock that in. Really, I'm probably going to take that off and give you something a bit tighter, but well, no, I'll leave it on. Really, it's a nice line in the sand. It is kind of holding the market right now. There is a general trend on cable also, on the 60-minute here from the lows of the 30th here of November, into the lows of the 5th of December. And it's just breaking that down really in yesterday's trade. You can see quite a flush down and then recovery on that. There we go. This looks a bit better, doesn't it? I was buying this dip onto the 3209s, pushed up, and just nothing here to push it higher. So getting out of that, all within that session on the high there. So now holding below this trend, it's quite dangerous for cable to kind of come off quite a bit to the downside, and certainly it's found a friend in Boris Johnson, having quite a bit of trouble with his cabinet at the moment. I have to say. So yeah, that's cable. Gold. Gold's a funny one here. It's holding on the 1782s, coming back to the weekly on gold. That is sort of this high put in around March. It's been quite a nice little level in September to November. Nice line in the sand there to hold this market. Strangely enough, I think it looks like there are buyers to be had in, or there are longs to be had in gold, but generally, it's quite a tricky one. I think the risk asset definitely is now called Bitcoin, and not gold GCE. But yeah, 1782s to hold here. I think you've got, you have a bit of a trend from the lows on the 2nd and the 3rd here, and indeed again on the 7th of December. So this looks like it's either going to hold the support here or break down. Now, for me, going to my head, I'd be looking for the short here. So that's going to be, zoom in, that's going to be a breakdown. It's going to be a pullback onto just up here. I'm having some problems with my mouse. I pull back onto the 1782s for the shorts, and then I think we're going to be trading 1755. So I mean, I'm not a fan. Probably figured out by now, of gold. time. So anyway, going on to the equities picture. Yeah, look, Nasdaq is back within yesterday's APAC range. It's adhering to that quite well now, I have to say. SPOO's very tight range yesterday as well, between the 669s and the 711s. It's very tight. So I'd be waiting for a break on this range, or buying the low and then angling for the high and breakout on the high. I don't know if I'd like to be selling the high of this range, playing to the downside, and the Dow here as well, in quite a tight range, I have to say too. So, really tricky conditions. There is this weekly bar downward trend. You see the Dow is really mulling around each side of that right now. So, and yeah, most of yesterday too. So, I mean, we were looking at some stuff on both this market and a couple of other equity markets yesterday. It's just very tricky trading here, really tricky trading. I think the swing traders are the only ones that can sit this out and enjoy the upside. But for me to be able to try and put on some risk in this range is absolute lunacy. I think it's just too tight to talk about. Not much going on. Looking around here, Bund took an absolute walloping yesterday, over that kind of the appointment of a new government. Let's see, how that plays out over time in the Bund. And T-notes, I think T-notes is set to keep going down 129.18's target on the downside, but holding pivot right now. Oil. Oil is having a good time of it, I have to say, into the 100 EMA, finding a bit of resistance this morning there and on the R1. Pull back to pivot, but I think, we have this target 73.98, and it's just getting closer and closer. And my eventual concept here is that we are going to trade well above that. Whether we're doing that within this week, today's session, tomorrow's session, I don't know. I think the dissipation of Omicron risk is certainly helping this market out, and we're seeing that rise from last Friday. Last Friday here, and Monday's gap up open trade just here on the second arrow bottom of your screen. So, that's oil. Getting the risk on is a tricky one. There is this uptrend as well, from the daily chart. I can pull that up here. There is this general uptrend in the marketplace from the lows of 2nd of November last year to the lows of August here, 23rd, and that's the uptrend we have. So if I peel this chart back and we go and look at the 60-minute, you'll see that trend is coming into play here, that much bigger, and you see a little bit of stop off 2 a.m. Tuesday evening, into the 100 EMA. So we're now pressing again up into this 100 EMA. So, I don't really feel like the shorts are going to be long lived on oil. That's it really for a look around the houses. It's suspiciously feeling like another quiet day on these markets. So do be careful out there. On the data slate, what we have really coming out, 1:30 today is initial jobless claims. Expectation is 215,000, just below the prior 222,000. And nat gas at 3:30, nat gas storage, that is. But apart from that, we have a pretty quiet session lined up ahead. So a bit more interesting tomorrow, I'd have to say, in the overall grand scheme of the week. So yeah, that's it. All right, have a good session, and we'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.